how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Some very troubling news for the National Football League. A study conducted by the British Medical Journal found that 25% of NFL players that died between 2016 and 2021 had CTE, the acronym for degenerative brain disease. The study tracked the health conditions of 878 former players during the 5-year period. Long before this study was conducted, CTE has been linked to health concerns of former NFL players. The Big Ten Conference is refusing to allow players on an NFL training camp roster to return to their school for a 5th year of eligibility. A federal court ruling opened the door for college football players to play 5 seasons before their eligibility runs out. The ruling allows players who were drafted by NFL teams or signed as free agents to go back to their school if they don't make the team. At the moment, the Big Ten is the only Division I conference putting their foot down and saying no. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley.
Culture in my lifetime has been as impactful, if not more impactful, than politics or law or any other pursuit or business. You know, I like to say culture is undefeated.
Culture is undefeated. That's what Council President Marquise Harris Dawson says, and you know what? He's right. Culture is undefeated. But here's the problem. You don't get to celebrate the culture while ignoring the people who created it. And that's where this procrastination Crenshaw conversation gets real. As you know, the community sent a formal letter to Harris Dawson. We're still waiting for an official response from the city. The deadline is Friday, September 4th. But in the interim, Harris Dawson penned an open letter to the community. Okay, that's fine, but responding is not the same as answering. That said, let's not confuse fixing the parking, repairing the street lights, and repaving streets and sidewalks with finishing Destination Crenshaw. The community was promised a transformational project. So, where is it? When is this thing going to be finished? The council president says the project is being delivered on a timeline. What timeline? That's not an unreasonable question, and that's not an attack. It's not division. That is accountability. And then there's the business interruption money. So in his letter, Harris Dawson says that more than $1 million went to Doolins on Crenshaw, and additional assistance went to a few other individuals. Oh, really? Who received the money? How much money? And who didn't? I can assure you a whole lot of folk didn't get that money. How do I know? I'm getting the phone calls. You see, transparency should not scare anybody. That's how accountability works, and that's why in our letter, we ask for an audit. But instead, what do we get? A discussion about Tavis Smiley, the pastor, the parishioners, the business owners, the people asking the questions, their motives, their ambitions, their character. Well, let me tell you something. When you can't answer the questions, attacking, insulting, and gaslighting the persons asking the questions doesn't make the questions disappear. It just makes people ask why you won't answer it. Let me be clear. We don't want to fight with the council president. We want the project finished because the people of Crenshaw are not on the sidelines, Mr. President. They are Crenshaw. And if culture really is undefeated, then respect the culture, respect the people, respect the businesses, and most importantly, respect the questions. Now, answer them. The Crenshaw Corridor community is still waiting, and September 4th is fast approaching. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Just talking louder. Just say nothing. Just say nothing. Man, I feel like money. Man, I feel like money. They're attracted to me. They come around like honey. They come around like honey. 'Cause I fly like a bee. Man, I got them all buzzing.
Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays, where we center Black, women, and BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling Black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed it is, and we're taking full advantage of our Sherry Bell time. And I mean, when we talk about wealth building, for a lot of us, that means getting a job, having a career, getting better wages so that we can save or buy a home or build some kind of generational wealth. So I feel like the Black Worker Center is part of that cycle, the LA Black Worker Center, of course, with which you're affiliated. Talk to us about, beyond the political education, about the wealth building side of the LA Black Worker Center.
Yeah, no, that's something that, we're trying to expound upon, like with co-ops and whatnot. But everybody knows it takes money to make money, right? And then, there's a dual-pronged approach to wealth building, right? Like you have the worker and you have the business owner, and sometimes they're one and the same, right?
Yeah, right.
And just sometimes when you have a business, you might not hire, people in your family. You might choose a different route, but that doesn't mean a business owner doesn't have a right to own a business, and that comes with like fair contracting, right? And so while we focus on the individual worker, because I truly believe that you have to do that separately, because they have to be organized separately. Like workers and business owners are two separate ways to
different
attack.
Interests,
different
different advocacy
right.
tract. And one of the things that I hear all the time is, ever since I got to LA many years ago, is that Black workers here are at a disadvantage, even more than maybe some other cities. I mean, if you probably go to a Baltimore or a Gary, Indiana, once they get their power back, where there's a much bigger, or a Memphis where there's a much bigger Black population, I don't know, maybe there's less discrimination. Here, I constantly am getting feedback that Black workers are being boxed out, pushed out, screened out of jobs.
I mean, that is definitely true. Like, employment discrimination is real. I mean, we do have a disadvantage when it comes to like unconscious bias, conscious bias, just access, knowing the right people, having the right relationships. Just thinking about even myself, having graduated college with 2 degrees and having to be relegated to like minimum wage work because I didn't know anybody. Right.
I didn't know you had 2 degrees.
Yeah. And so, working in a grocery market with a master's degree in your back pocket because you don't know how to penetrate the market. So that's one thing I appreciate about what the Black Worker Center is trying to do with working with our government officials and trying to really expand upon the workforce development piece of our Ready to Work program at identifying high road employers like the ports, LAX. We're trying to get agreements with them for real pathway programs to refer people who are trained with skills, politically educated, but also those hard and soft skills to be able to survive on the job. It's hard though, but because we had to deal with the city public works department, that was semi-successful. Continuing to try to work on that, trying to work on a pathway program with the ports to be able to get people in the community into jobs that they never thought that they could have access to. So that's the kind of things that we're working on. We meet with the city personnel department to try to streamline their testing to get people in these jobs because, just for me, being one of those workers, right, that didn't know how to get a foot in the door or how to access like state employment until I came to the center. With the state job, you can have money to save. You could get a business loan. You could get a small business contract with the county. It opens up more avenues for you to be a business owner, when you have something to start with.
Right. And I know that there, some of the fields that we hear the most complaints about are construction and the building trades. And I know that there are programs within the LABWC to register people with different lists and different rosters so that they can be considered and to add to their skill set so that they can be more employable?
Yeah, I mean, so like with the whole building trades thing, we kind of like, you know, we need to get more re-engaged with them, because we did used to tutor. We used to help people with the tutoring to pass those tests to get into trades, like the higher skilled trades like electrician and whatnot. But now we kind of focus more on public sector work. However, we do the building trades is an excellent way to access like above middle class income without having a degree and being just as impacted. I know the James T. Mitchell Foundation does tutoring for like the DWP exam and whatnot, and those are high quality careers that can really stabilize a family and generate that wealth for the individual. And with that wealth, they, you know, folks can choose to be business owners. We saw it during COVID, right? So I think that from what I fight for in my volunteer time is making sure that we are holding government agencies accountable to really creating pathways to underrepresented workers. When I say that, I mean Black workers who are at a huge disparity when you look at departments like DWP and the ports and Los Angeles World Airports, LAWA, like those quality jobs, we're not really seeing ourselves in them. So we want to open up those pathways, and that's why we've been meeting with the ports of LA, meeting with LAWA, we're meeting with city personnel to really try to increase and make existing programs work for us as well.
Yeah, and of course that was the whole charter reform push as well. And so I always tell people who are angry about Black workers being shut out that starting with the LA Black Worker Center is a good idea, whether there's a specific program for you or whether you're organizing with other workers to help them. It is a concrete place to start.
Definitely. I mean, if you feel like you want to look at the economy and how it impacts workers here in LA, you have a campaign idea that you think that we should be taking up, you know, we definitely want to listen to that. You know, we're just a community-based organization of people who want to ensure that, you know, Black workers, and it's okay to say Black workers, because who else is going to fight or raise the issue if it's not us, right?
I'm surprised the Trump administration hasn't come up after the LABWC. They came after findablackdoctor.com. They don't want to black anything. They want
jinx us, Dominique.
Well, yeah, okay. Sorry, I take it back. It's lablackworkerscenter.org, lablackworkerscenter.org, and they're right there on Crenshaw.
Yeah, thank you for letting me give my little spiel.
Thank you for coming in. We've missed you, Sherry Bell.
I miss you too.
All right, be blessed. We have a treat for you. Attorney Chris Martin is here, and we're going to talk national politics when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
My name is Bronwyn, and I've been in this neighborhood for 65 years.
All righty.
I was raised here, right on Crenshaw Boulevard. Ancestry, legacy, everything. No parking. In regards to our elderly, in regards to trying to get from one end to the other, 48th and 50th Street is a dead zone. You got to get off the bus, and you got to make your way down in the middle of the block. I'm right across the street. I understand one of the things. I am happy to see you guys. I've been in too many meetings where you weren't there. I understand those who own the buildings and your properties. I understand those who rent from you. Here it is. Why can't we invest in each other?
Making sure they follow through. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Right now, look who's in the studio. He is a civil rights attorney and activist and an R&B singer. Attorney Chris Martin, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's great. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you. And I can't believe we're back in election season already.
Yes, we are.
Because I feel like I was bugging you every 5 minutes during election season. I got to ask you, while I have, attorney brain in studio, what are you thinking about this Supreme Court ruling around the mail-in voting? Do you think this is going to be impactful in this midterm?
Yeah, I think that it has the potential to definitely be impactful. When you restrict the mail-in, voting, there's a good chance that, folks who would otherwise vote but for whatever reason can't make it down to the voting centers, be it because they may be working, far longer hours, like myself, as a lawyer, I routinely worked 15 hours a day, at an office. And so by the time that I get out of work, oftentimes, the stuff would be closed. So it's more convenient for somebody like me to be able to, mail something in. It may be more convenient for a senior citizen who may not have transportation and access to get to the polls to mail in. And ultimately, it may be more convenient for poor people who don't have access to transportation to be able to mail in. So what they're doing right now is a form of voter suppression, I believe.
Yeah, and we don't know how it's going to play out. From what I understand, this is unprecedented as far as giving the U.S. Postal Service such a big role in elections, because they're going to be determining however they're going to play out that executive order around restricting mail-in votes. And since the president voted by mail, or the resident, as I like to call him,
right,
that clearly they're going to want to let some people do it. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to manage that.
Right, but that they're going to do it in a way that is going to disenfranchise poor people, people of color, and black people.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll watch it. There's a second case, a second challenge going through the courts, but I kind of feel like they're just going to rubber stamp it.
Yeah, that's the consequences of electing a president who was able to support people who was able to appoint people onto the Supreme Court who will agree with the things that he wants to do. Yeah. They're going to just be a rubber stamp for him.
I don't know why they just don't crown him emperor.
Right.
They already gave him total immunity. As a lawyer, that's got to be mind-blowing, right? Who gets total immunity?
Yeah, absolutely. Richard Nixon once said, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal. Right. He believed in the total immunity of the office of the presidency and that he could do anything that he wanted. And now Donald Trump is putting that to reality.
It's Nixon's, dream come true.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And to me, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know how in the world anyone can be above the law. What is a law if someone's above it?
Right. That is the crux of, what this country's all about, right? Nobody is above the law, no matter how high they are. Nobody should be able to operate with impunity.
Are some of these things reversible? Will they be reversed? I know he's got this supermajority on the extreme court, as my dad used to call it.
Right.
And that those are lifetime appointments, so unless they all get the measles and kick the bucket, they're going to be there forever. It doesn't seem like Democrats have the power or the will to expand the court. We can't limit their terms without a constitutional amendment. So these decisions, are they now generations? Will they be there for generations? Can they be reversed in other ways? Where do we stand with something like you have immunity forever, or we're limiting mail-in votes?
They can be there for generations, depending on how long various Supreme Court justices live, or when they decide to retire, and who's in office to appoint folks onto the Supreme Court who will be more liberal.
They game the system too. They try not to retire when there's someone from the opposite party, even though they're supposed to be nonpartisan.
Right.
And they try not to die or retire.
Right. They try not to die.
They try not to die. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was sure she wasn't going to die, and that's why that is one of the reasons we have the supermajority that we have of conservatives, because we don't get to dictate when we die.
Right. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, God bless her soul. She thought that she wasn't going to die, and she thought that Trump wasn't going to probably get in there.
Right.
She probably thought that Hillary was going to win, and when Hillary won, she would be able to replace her with, somebody who would also be liberal to be able to keep that seat.
Yeah, that's a really good point. She was probably, because no one thought Trump. Hardly anyone thought Trump was going to win. I didn't. Yeah, my child is still angry at me because I promised him that Trump wasn't going to win.
Yeah, that was a big shock. I remember that on election day. Like, whoa, what's going on?
What is happening? Yeah, that was.
I remember that day because it reminded me of. I can recall in the 2008 election when certain, voting numbers were in, and it appeared that John McCain was actually ahead of Barack Obama in the very, very beginnings of, the counting. And I was like, oh my gosh, could John McCain actually win this thing? And then as the night went on, like Barack Obama, steadily gained more and more votes, right? So when it happened in 2016, and it started off with Donald Trump being ahead, I thought to myself, well, it's like 2008, like John McCain was ahead at first. So throughout the night, it's going to be a matter of time before Hillary pulls ahead by an overwhelming majority. But that never happened.
I thought so too. And then I went to sleep and I woke up and I was like, what? Yeah. And that's true. I guess I didn't think about that part of Bader Ginsburg's calculation. But the whole point is, even though it's supposedly nonpartisan, they game the system. They try to wait until they can be replaced by someone with the same partisan leanings that they have. And we know that Trump cheated in, cramming through Amy Coney Barrett at the last minute,
right,
after Republicans refused to seat Merrick Garland. So they game the system better than Democrats do.
Right. And when, Chief Justice Scalia, former Chief Justice Scalia passed away, which happened to be at the end of Barack Obama's term, or towards the end of Barack Obama's term. And, Barack Obama tried to get a liberal justice in there. Of course, that was blocked. So he was able to hold on.
Do you think that Obama, there's anything he could have done? Like, I feel it always felt like he should have pressed harder. He should have, twisted more arms. He was. It seemed, but I don't. I'm not an expert, but it seemed like he was gentlemanly and was like, "Okay, you don't want to let me appoint someone toward the end of my term. I'll just back off." And then when Republicans turn around and push through Amy Coney Barrett at the last second, no one stopped it.
Yeah. I mean, the office of the president has tremendous powers. I do think that he could have been more forceful in getting that appointment. But I think, like, again, he was one of many people who probably underestimated the outcome of that 2016 election.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Because I always thought, why? Because he's a constitutional scholar. Sure. He knows that consequences of that appointment can last for generations.
Sure.
But he probably thought Hillary was going to have her turn.
Yeah.
And wow, look at where we are now.
Yes, I mean, Barack Obama would know better than most, if not all, politicians as a constitutional law professor, the implications of that.
And I just there's another way out, right? If we had an actual revolution.
Right, there's
that's another way out.
There's always that.
Yeah. But other than that, we're probably stuck with these folks. Unless somehow the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, I don't know if you're a Democrat. I'm still in the party.
Sure.
Unless we finally got control, like the Democrats, the social Democrats, and truly actual progressive Democrats, and then forced the expansion of the court.
Sure.
Or some term limits. That's tougher because you need a constitutional amendment, which means you need a bunch of red states.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. That's what you would need. I mean, look at it from the Republican side with one particular issue, which would be, Roe v. Wade and abortion, right? That was 1973 that Roe v. Wade was decided on, and it took them, over 50 years to get that overturned,
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at here when it comes to, policies that's the Supreme Court enacts.
To me, it's crazy that that's a lifetime appointment. That is monarchy. It's giving monarchy to me. Nothing should be for a lifetime if you're in a representative democracy.
Yeah.
I think 12 years is plenty of time to be on the Supreme Court. That's 3 presidential terms.
Yeah.
That's 2 administrations, right? Because you got, if one gets elected for 8 years and the other has a first term, I just don't think they should be in there for more than that. It's back to emperors and kings and, shahs and poobahs. And that's supposedly what we fought the American Revolution against.
That's true. So that there wouldn't be a monarchy or people just in there for life, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking with total immunity, control over the voting system, that they should just go out and give him a crown and a scepter.
Might as well, huh?
Yeah, just go. But then I guess they wouldn't have a job anymore. They have to be there to rubber stamp what he says. Otherwise, they don't get free RVs and foreign vacations.
Right. I just wish that Barack Obama would have exercised more of the powers of the presidency when he was in office. Looking at everything that Trump has been able to do, those are the same powers that Barack Obama had from 2008 to 2016. And even if, he was worried about that first term and making it to the second term, like once he got to the second term, he could have exercised those powers more liberally in that second term.
Attorney Chris Martin is here. We've got news, traffic, and sports and more. I want to talk about these hangings, black people hanging from trees when we come forward on KBLA. Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. South Carolina Republicans have chosen Darlene Graham as their Senate nominee.
People are moving to South Carolina in droves to get away from the blue state policies of the Democratic Socialist.
The Trump-backed candidate defeated Congressman Ralph Norman and now advances to November's election against Democrat Annie Andrews. Former presidents are paying tribute to Dolly Parton following her death at age 80. Presidents Clinton, Obama, Bush, and Trump praised her lasting impact on music, literacy, philanthropy, and American culture. President Trump has ordered that the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff through sunset September 1st. And the PGA Tour is partnering with the LeBron James Family Foundation to bring a golf event to Akron, Ohio next year. The tournament will connect aspiring pros with mentorship opportunities for students in James's I Promise program. Get BIN News now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Some very troubling news for the National Football League. A study conducted by the British Medical Journal found that 25% of NFL players that died between 2016 and 2021 had CTE, the acronym for degenerative brain disease. The study tracked the health conditions of 878 former players during the 5-year period. Long before this study was conducted, CTE has been linked to health concerns of former NFL players. The Big Ten Conference is refusing to allow players on an NFL training camp roster to return to their school for a 5th year of eligibility. A federal court ruling opened the door for college football players to play 5 seasons before their eligibility runs out. The ruling allows players who were drafted by NFL teams or signed as free agents to go back to their school if they don't make the team. At the moment, the Big Ten is the only Division I conference putting their foot down and saying no. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. If you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
As we go a little something like this.
Talkers Magazine has spoken. Out of every talk radio host in America, Tavis Smiley ranks number 14 on the Heavy 100 list. One of the top 15 most important voices in the nation, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Unapologetically progressive, unapologetically powerful. Tune in weekdays on the 9s, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. This is your station. This is your voice.
Let's get it on!
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Oh no! Tear the roof down!
Oh no, we have time!
Please, God, save us! Save our house! Please, God, please!
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma
processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Forward with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm John Wood Jr., host of the Kingdom Project, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. Black America has a tradition of holding the United States of America to the standard of her stated principles when it comes to democracy. When the country has said all men are created equal, black people have demanded that we mean it. In the long history of holding America accountable to the promise of her ideals, no name looms larger than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
But as the country has drifted from the ideals of Dr. King, do black people have a special obligation to revive Dr. King's philosophy? Furthermore, does the black church have a responsibility to renew the moral leadership of America and reacquaint the nation with the gospel principles that inform Dr. King's philosophy? Tune in Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific as I make the case for the revival of the philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the moral leadership of the black church, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Attorney Chris Martin is here. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. I'm over here multitasking, doing a lot. So is Chris. Chris, remind folks before we launch into our next stuff where they can find you, because they can see you as a singer, or maybe if they need an attorney. I know you're pretty busy, pretty booked.
Yes. So, you can feel free to follow me on Instagram at Doc, which is spelled DOC _Martin, MARTIN 88. That's on IG. If you, need some legal support, you can feel free to email me at cdmartinlaw@gmail.com.
cdmartinlaw.
Mm-hmm.
And you do a lot of civil rights stuff, but you do a variety, right?
Oh, that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm finding it very hard to keep up, because there seems to be a lot of black people being found in various situations hanging from trees. And we're automatically and almost immediately told that there is no foul play, which is hard to fathom, because I don't know how they could do an investigation this quickly.
Right.
Last count that I saw, it was like 11 in the past year. And even there was even one, I guess, maybe 2 years ago up here in the Inland Empire. And authorities went out of their way to convince us that it was someone suiciding. The family disagreed. What do you make of this? Because I know that suicides are up, particularly among young black men, but I just don't know if that would be our method of choice. I mean, that's self-lynching?
Yeah. The first thing that I want to say is black people do not hang themselves from trees. And my heart goes out to the families of all these black folks who have been targeted and lynched. I do believe that black people are being systematically hunted. And when a black body is found hanging from a tree in broad daylight, local law enforcement should not be able to just slap a suicide label on a case file within 72 hours and tell us to move along, right? Not you can't ignore 400 years of racial terror and lynchings in our country, and especially in the American South, and ask us to just accept a hasty police statement as gospel, not with the history that we have. And there are a number of cases like this, particularly in Mississippi, right? Black people are being hunted, and that is very real.
The thing about it, the way you just said it is really powerful, because we're being told that we're jumping to conclusions, or that there's no evidence to support foul play, and we're just supposed to accept a quick assessment with no deep investigation. And I think the way you just put it, 400 years of racial terror, that wouldn't even be logical for us to just be, okay, yeah, sure, suicide, got it.
Yeah.
You know, that wouldn't even be logical for us.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me, like, everything that's going on today reminds me of the things that were going on in the 1960s, right? You know, if you study history, when Goodman, Cheney, and Swerner went missing back in 1963, the first thing that the Mississippi state government did was deny that anything bad had happened to them, deny that any foul play was involved, and actually said that it was some type of like stunt on behalf of Goodman, Cheney, and Swerner to, you know, bolster their cause for what they believe were, you know, states' rights and meddling within the state affairs of Mississippi, right? So the government, even back then, particularly in the South, you know, was just all about suppressing this notion that that black folks could be, you know, harmed by racist white folks, right? And it's the same thing that's happening today. We have, you know, agents of the state or local municipalities that are suppressing this notion that black folks can be harmed at the hands of racist white people.
I'm looking at this article about the woman Tasia Fortune, the 29-year-old mama of 4, who was found hanging from a tree behind a vacant house. This is in Jackson. This is Jackson. It's Mississippi. And again, they said, you know, nothing to see here. But her family's saying no, she did not do that to herself. And it does seem like, I gotta say that it feels in step with the mentality of the country, because the resident of the White House is supporting racist organizations and individuals, pardoning racist rioters who were plotting to overthrow the election. And so it doesn't seem out of step with, you know, you've got Stephen Miller, a white supremacist in the White House. So it's if you look at it in terms of eras, what happens during certain eras in our country, it seems logical that black people would be under attack. Hate crimes against us are up. So but why is it that we can't prove this? I'm thinking about Trey Reed, you know, this was last year, you know, the freshman at Delta State University. I'm trying to, why is there no videotape? Why is there no evidence? I feel like everything's on tape now.
Yeah, that's a good question. And, you know, our oppressors have learned to evolve over time and do things in a way that is, you know, more clandestine, knowing that it would be less likely for them to be able to get away with it if they were doing it in broad daylight with pictures like how they used to do in the 1800s and early 1900s, when they would have pictures of themselves, you know, with the black body swinging from the tree behind them.
Right, people would bring a lunch, and it was like a family outing. Let's watch a black person getting murdered.
Right, with the 7-year-old right there just smiling, you know, with southern fruit hanging behind him. You know, they recognize that they can't get away with that anymore. You know, so they're figuring out other ways to accomplish their goals. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking at this article from the Chicago Crusader. They name in 2026 alone Juliana Nsitsa, I don't know how to say her name. She's a 16-year-old black Congolese woman, found hanging on a church grounds in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was ruled a suicide in 3 days with no autopsy. Tanoa Nicole Miller, 27, dead in Miami on Juneteenth, near a park there. Justice Kai James at Turner Job Corps in Albany, Georgia. This is all in 2026.
Yeah. We must continue to say their names. And there's a story of this one young brother that I was reading or looking at yesterday, who was being, hunted by a band of racist white folks, and he was calling or texting his mother, and he was just basically like, if anything happens to me, I want you to know that I did not do it to myself. And he believed that his boss was targeting him at that time down south. And so
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, of course, like he ended up dead, and his body was like mutilated, and the state police were just, or the state agencies or the local police force was just like, he hung himself, and then animals dismember his body.
I think about Ahmaud Arbery, right? Because those men were chasing him in the truck. So those types of scenarios, you get chased, you get pulled into a van or a truck, you get nabbed, just like back in Emmett Till's day. Why couldn't it happen now?
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we want answers? Let's go to Mikael calling us from LA. Mikael, you're on the air with Attorney Chris Martin.
This is Mikael, the Hebrew Israelite.
Indeed.
Like you said the other day, it's not what you do, it's what you know. And I have said, I'm a Hebrew, and I'm trying to write this book, God is Black, and God is going to come back and pay white people back. This book prove it. He put us in slavery, now he's going to take us out. Our 400 years is up. But the point is, I can't get in touch with Carl Douglas or Ben Crumb. I need an attorney for, I don't have no record. Like you said, it's not what you do, it's what you know.
So stay on hold, Mikael, and we'll connect you with Chris, but with Attorney Chris Martin. I do want to say I've seen Hebrew Israelites marching in Mississippi for Nolan Wells, for Baby Cohen Wiley, in formation and quite deep. And I've been happy to see that. I'm not going to lie. Can you tell us anything about that, Mikael? As far as it seems fairly new to see the Hebrew Israelite brothers marching for Black lives the way I've seen of late.
Oh, they always do that. That's nothing new. Even in New York, when they marched for Kyrie Irving, the basketball player who didn't take the COVID vaccine, and his religion was related to the Hebrews.
Right, but that's more of a religious thing. I mean, to see the brothers out marching for Baby Cohen Wiley, the 1-year-old who was murdered by Mississippi police, I mean, that was something. Maybe it's just that it's not reported on and I don't see it. I haven't seen it in Los Angeles, but it was a beautiful thing to see.
Well, one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not murder. You're supposed to protect yourself. If anybody try to hurt you, like Camille Anthony, he's innocent. Somebody going to try to hurt me, kill me, I'm going to kill them. That's self-defense. I'm not out to hurt nobody, but you see what's happening to us all over the country, or even in the church in 2015. You go in there and kill 9 black people. You go in Buffalo, New York, you kill 10 black people. I mean, they don't like us. I mean, we got to separate, do for ourselves, get us our own police department.
All right, Mikael, stay on hold. I'll connect you with Attorney Chris Martin. Anything you want to add to that, Attorney Martin?
We definitely, just need you to continue to, fight for justice. And we need the support of everybody who's willing to fight for justice. And everything that's going on in our country, particularly as it pertains to the plight of the African American. So, thank you for everything that you do to advocate for us.
Attorney Chris Martin is here. I have another question related to this rash of apparent lynchings of black people hanging from trees going on boats and never being seen alive again and whatnot. And we'll address that, a legal question for Attorney Chris Martin, when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Seriously speaking, every Saturday when I hear the program about Altadena and how it may not come back, that's happening to us. This is the largest land grab since the gold rush in California. We have an EDD property, 59,000 square feet. Our elected representative determined that she should write a bill that would declare it to be surplus. So now guess what we're getting? Affordable housing. So I hope that we can start listening to one another, because there is a domino effect. If you don't care about us, guess what? We won't be here and then you won't be here.
Not letting them get away with anything. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're finally off the clock after a long day, dishes put away, kids asleep, feet kicked up, heartburn. Don't let heartburn take over your hard-earned moment. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets begin neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so you can get back to your one more episode marathon. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Because nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Use as directed.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Talking with Attorney Chris Martin, and the issue of black people hanging from trees. I mean, of course, this is taking place against the backdrop of Nolan Wells going out on a boat with his white friends, never being seen alive again, and also in the environment of white supremacy in the White House. And on top of that, a crazy rise in the killings of black people by police and others. I mean, if you saw the Cyrus Carmack Belton, where it was a shopkeeper and his wife hunting this child down, and then, the stealing of the freedom of Carmelo Anthony, which they're having national days of solidarity with him this weekend. It makes it feels like the environment, as you said, for hunting black people down is very it's just prevalent. But in 2022 there was something passed called the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. This was under the Biden administration, and it was signed into law in March of 2022. It made lynching a federal hate crime, punishable by up to 30 years. Amazing that it didn't happen until 2022. But no prosecution has ever been brought under that. Could that be applicable? Could it help us right now? And why is it not being used when even according to the FBI, black people are still the most targeted by hate crimes? We're at almost 26% of all hate crimes according to the FBI.
Yes. My understanding is that it's related to the conspiracy to commit hate crimes, right? Which means that two or more people gather together to plan out to commit a hate crime against someone, right? And if those two or more people get together and commit that hate crime after planning it out, then the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act would apply to carry a sentence of 30 years.
So there would be no impact on investigations or transparency.
Right.
That would have to be proven in a court of law, and then it would kick in. It wouldn't kick in any way right now.
Right. I mean, so the first thing is there would have to be two people, right, discussing it. It wouldn't just be one person.
Right. I can freelance lynch someone on my own.
Exactly. So, and it wouldn't be a conspiracy if it's just one person acting on their own. It has to be at least two people, right? Then the second thing is, you have to catch these two people.
Right, and you have to want to catch them.
Yeah, you have to catch them, and you have to want to catch them, right? But in these cases right here, the governments, the police agencies have no interest in catching these people. So they're just basically saying that these are suicides, right? So you have to have, a DA or, a police force that believes in, combating this, right? And wanting to catch the people who are lynching our people.
I mean, I saw an influencer on socials yesterday saying that it is the police. And, of course, he's speculating. But the thing about it is when we've seen what happened in Mississippi with people being, killed by police and buried in unmarked graves behind the prison there. That was the goon squad. Some of those folks did end up getting prosecuted years later. And we see the way law enforcement regularly kills black folks. I'm not saying that all of them are, and I know it's allegedly in speculation, but it certainly seems like there's a likelihood that some of these, even when you look at January 6th and how many law enforcement and even fire personnel were on the scene as protesters trying to overturn the election.
Yeah, I mean, the Ku Klux Klan is and was full of law enforcement, all throughout their history. So nothing has changed since those days, right? From 1873 when they were founded through the 1960s to now. They've probably got some law enforcement within the Ku Klux Klan. They've got law enforcement without who are not in the Ku Klux Klan, who are still, racist, and using that position of power to abuse and kill black people. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think perhaps the Emmett Till Act, Anti-Lynching Act needs a companion piece of legislation that would trigger some kind of transparency or federal investigation. Of course, with this administration, that won't help. Some kind of state investigation, perhaps, when black people specifically, are found hanging from trees.
Yeah. The only thing with that is that is going to inspire a lot of pushback from those southern states, right? When you have the issue of states' rights, and that the state believes that they're the best person or best entity or agency to handle these types of things. So, and that's a centuries-old, debate that has gone on since before the Civil War, and particularly with this particular administration, of the Trump administration, agreeing with them and, being less likely to use the Department of Justice to prosecute these types of crimes.
Yeah. I mean, they agree with them when it's convenient. They won't let California have our own emissions and pollution control measures. We don't have states' rights. We don't have states' rights to keep them from sullying the coast.
Right.
But when it comes to oppressing black people, the states have all the rights.
Right.
When it comes to taking away women's rights, they have all the rights in the world.
Right. And then when you have a president who is in charge of this administration's Department of Justice, then, they're going to just stand back and let it happen.
But when we fight, we win. So we just have to keep fighting. Right?
Got to keep fighting and never give up.
You can find him on Instagram, Doc_Martin88, and you can find him if you need a lawyer, cdmartin @gmail.com.
Yes, and I also want to say this. On August 29th at Center of Hope Church in Inglewood, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., I am hosting a free legal clinic. Come through to that. Get you some free consultations on all areas of the law. We having all types of lawyers there doing expungements, wills and trusts, civil rights, So, yes, get a free consultation from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Center of Hope Church this Saturday, August 29th.
Thank you so much. We got news, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. South Carolina Republicans have chosen Darlene Graham as their Senate nominee.
People are moving to South Carolina in droves to get away from the blue state policies of the Democratic Socialist.
The Trump-backed candidate defeated Congressman Ralph Norman and now advances to November's election against Democrat Annie Andrews. Former presidents are paying tribute to Dolly Parton following her death at age 80. Presidents Clinton, Obama, Bush, and Trump praised her lasting impact on music, literacy, philanthropy, and American culture. President Trump has ordered that the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff through sunset September 1st. And the PGA Tour is partnering with the LeBron James Family Foundation to bring a golf event to Akron, Ohio next year. The tournament will connect aspiring pros with mentorship opportunities for students in James's I Promise program. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers' 6-game winning streak was snapped Tuesday night in Atlanta. They lost to the Braves 4-3. The Dodgers had 10 hits but left 11 runners on base. The Dodgers and Braves meet up again tonight. The Southeastern Conference is joining the Big Ten in not allowing athletes who signed pro contracts to return to school for a 5th year of eligibility. The ACC and Big 12 are meeting this week to consider doing the same thing as the SEC and Big 10. A federal court ruling has given pro athletes, those drafted or signed as free agents, the right to return to college if they get cut by their pro teams. LeBron has teamed up with the PGA Tour to do a tournament in 2027 in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, the LeBron James Family Foundation Classic. The tournament is scheduled for July 6th and 7th. Part of the proceeds will go to LeBron's I Promise Academy in Akron. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley.
Culture in my lifetime has been as impactful, if not more impactful, than politics or law or any other pursuit or business. You know, I like to say culture is undefeated.
Culture is undefeated. That's what Council President Marquise Harris Dawson says, and you know what? He's right. Culture is undefeated. But here's the problem. You don't get to celebrate the culture while ignoring the people who created it. And that's where this procrastination Crenshaw conversation gets real. As you know, the community sent a formal letter to Harris Dawson. We're still waiting for an official response from the city. The deadline is Friday, September 4th. But in the interim, Harris Dawson penned an open letter to the community. Okay, that's fine, but responding is not the same as answering. That said, let's not confuse fixing the parking, repairing the street lights, and repaving streets and sidewalks with finishing Destination Crenshaw. The community was promised a transformational project. So, where is it? When is this thing going to be finished? The council president says the project is being delivered on a timeline. What timeline? That's not an unreasonable question, and that's not an attack. It's not division. That is accountability. And then there's the business interruption money. So in his letter, Harris Dawson says that more than $1 million went to Doolin's on Crenshaw, and additional assistance went to a few other individuals. Oh, really? Who received the money? How much money? And who didn't? I can assure you a whole lot of folk didn't get that money. How do I know? I'm getting the phone calls. You see, transparency should not